Clips. And remember, citizens, always subscribe and hit the bell. Everything will be well in 1995. Plus, shipping and handling will keep you out of hell. Why does a dog wag its tail? Because a dog is smarter than its tail. If the tail were smarter, the tail would wag the dog. Wag the dog in politics is the act of creating diversion from a damaging issue. Here at Wag the Dog News, the tail doesn't wag the dog. Enjoy. Clips. And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the bell. Everything will be well. 1995. Plus, shipping and handling will keep you out of hell. Hell. In the afternoon, boob tubes. Welcome, one and all. My glasses are a big bit bent, I think. Hopefully you're all good, and it should be an interesting one. I'm going to have a wee shifty at the old Press TV and the BBC's. The reason I'm doing the Press TV is they've always got a big bit of an interesting take, certainly a different one. Oh my god, what the fuck's going on with these glasses, man? There we go, that should fix them a wee bit. Just that one. Let's go in there. There we go. Oh god. Don't tell me Press TVs went fucking offline. Fucking had it up earlier on. Oh my. Best plans and all that jazz. Oh my god, that's the weirdest shit ever. The Illuminati! Must have known I was going live with Press TV. That's shit. And all the streams I got with Press TV, there was no DVR facility. Found the way in, y'all.
Of what they had done.
Good. Because there is no way back DVR facility, so oh my god, these glasses are fucked. So we need to get it at the top of the hour. But Biden's been over. He made a speech in baby Jesus' home birth town of Bethlehem. Talking about helping the Palestinians by making sure they've got 4G networks. I don't know about you, see when maybe my friends, maybe my family are getting genocide. The last thing I want at top of priorities is 4G networks. Some would argue it might just be a way of fucking eardropping and fucking Palestinians and what they're saying. Call me skeptical. He's reversed Trump's policy and he's turned the tap on for billions of pounds worth of aid to the Palestinians. He fucked up somebody's name. That's par for the course for Mr. Magoo. The BBC is... where's fucking Ozma? Remember him? Remember? And the BBC is talking about a UK guy that's died in custody in the so-called Republic of Donetsk, the so-called Islamic State. I'm going to start calling the so-called BBC. What the fuck is that? Answers in a postcard if anybody can decipher that Orwellian fucked up shit when they just say so-called to things to be derogatory about them. And Ivana Trump is dead. Somebody's threw her down the stairs. I mean, she fell down the stairs in her house. Who knows what happened? But very interesting. I'm having a wee look at the weather report to see if I'm going to die anytime soon, according to the news. 40 fucking degrees in Spain, no man. Woo! Deary me. In the afternoon, Otto, Gabby, 4Q Productions. It's not really that hot, to be quite honest. Last night, I'm glad I went out with my hoodie, as I get Baltic at night time. That's what always happens when the sun goes away. And if you look at all the weather reports and stuff, Glasgow isn't getting any of this fucking deadly weather and stuff. I mean, it's summertime, but it's cloudy as a mofo, because we get the tail end of the Gulf Stream. Spews out all the crap. Just over the North Sea and whatnot, the Irish Sea and whatnot. Right, what's happening is this went offline. Oh god. We're going to have problems streaming this shit. Come on, I've seen you working. Oh fuck. I really don't think this is meant to do with my setup or anything, to be honest. I think it's more, which is always a possibility. I think it's more to do with Press TV side of things. I think they might be having some technical issues. All you can do is try. What that's sending me to, and so that we're having problems with it.
Got in common. That's all on Press TV with me, Lemon Topic, and Cats and Dogs. Don't miss it.
Oh, look who's on Press TV, man. Was that Limbit or something? Oh, what politicians do after they fall out of view. Voice of the voiceless. Here we go, this is the top of our headlines.
The headlines: a senior Iranian military commander says the U.S. will pay the price for its threatening rhetoric against the Islamic Republic.
Ooh.
The U.S. President Joe Biden pays a visit to the occupied West Bank following his trip to Israel, where he committed to the security of the regime. And Italy is facing a political crisis as the prime minister tenders his resignation. The president has refused to accept it. We have a report from Rome.
Sounds familiar in Britain, doesn't it? Somebody resigns and they just stay. It's like the new politics. It's the new politics.
Hello and welcome. You're watching World News on Press TV, coming to you live from our headquarters in Tehran. Thank you for joining us. My name is Gisumi Shah Ahmadi, and these are our top stories this hour. A spokesman for the Iranian armed forces has warned the U.S. against its rhetoric.
It's always good to get a wee bit of news from all sides. I can't believe how easy it was to get Press TV. I say that after all the fucking bull crap I had. But just with what's happening with RT and whatnot. Right. I spoke too soon, didn't I? Spoke way too soon. It's going to keep doing this shit, innit? People are... I don't know the technical shit or whatever, but there might be people, entities out there that want to annoy the shit out of this stream.
Use force against Iran over its nuclear program. Brigadier
It's only
General
live, so
Abulfaz
forget
Shikarchi
to fuck it up or whatever. Oh god. Seems to be going back to the same bit of shit. Spoke far too soon, didn't I? I was working a lot better earlier on. Fuck, man. RT won't be doing any top of the hour news. They're doing a package. Guy sitting on the garden bench. Try this bad boy. Fuck out of shit. Tommy Robinson Network. We have a wee listen to the Chinos.
In the region and the world. Ambassadors and diplomats from Indonesia, Brunei, Cambodia.
We'll get a good. They're right on top of Sri Lanka.
I'm pleased to be given this opportunity to attend today's event
Right.
and meet leading figures of the CPPCC.
Here we go, top of the hour news.
This is CGTN,
CPTN, China
China Global Television Network.
Global Television Network.
Hello and thanks for joining us on The World Today. Coming to you from Beijing, I'm Zhao Yang. We start in China, where President Xi Jinping has conducted an inspection visit of the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. His first stop was the capital Urumqi, where he visited Xinjiang.
The Uyghurs, are they not meant to be
and the
killing them?
Urumqi International Land Port area.
I don't mean like
Said that
it's
as
like
well
part of the
as
rules or
cooperation
anything. I mean,
across
is that not
area and
word on the street in the
remarkable
West?
progress has been made. Whilst visiting a residential community, Xi stressed the importance of work.
Oh, the
at
Belt and
community
Road.
level
They
and
don't
more
want
efforts to
that
benefit
completed.
residents of all ethnic groups. On Wednesday
Just to
afternoon,
allow
Xi
China
visited
to
the city of Shihezi in
become
northwest
even more
Xinjiang.
of an
The
economic
Xinjiang
powerhouse.
Production and Construction Corps briefed him on their development, and the president encouraged them to strive for greater prosperity.
Maximum pressure
He also
doctrine
visited Tehran to
sanction
learn
regime
about the city's efforts to
installed by
develop
Trump, but has
Take it when
failed
we can get it. Eh?
to lift
Let's see how long it
the
lasts.
sanctions that were the
Back to
object
Press
of
TV.
negotiation back in 2015.
So we'll have a look at the
And
China
this, I
TV
say,
network,
has, gone out of its
Iranian
way
TV
to
network,
show
and then the
really,
BBC TV network.
bad intent in
All the
context
best
of
state-funded
negotiations.
news in the
Joe
world.
Biden has vowed to boost Washington's
independent, of
military
course.
support for Tel Aviv. Iran says
No
US
editorial
President Joe Biden's
stance.
visit to the Middle East will
None of
not
them.
bring security
All
for
just
the
want
occupying
to tell
regime.
you the truth.
President Ibrahim Raisi said
They're
if the
toothless.
visits by American officials to the region are intended to reinforce the Zionist regime's position and provide impetus to the normalization process, the efforts are bound to fail.
Devin,
Tehran has
how you
also
doing, my
snapped
man?
the US for keeping up unconditional support for Israel.
22 in Devon.
Joe Biden's unwavering support for Israel is nothing new, and it was something to be expected. It is widely known that the United States provides Israel with the largest military aid, $3.8 billion per year. Aside from virtually omitting the Palestinian issue altogether,
But
both
are
the
they
US
giving Israel a
president and
4G
Israel's
network?
Prime Minister sounded the alarm on Iran.
That's the question.
Another aim to reset ties with Saudi Arabia and get the kingdom and other Persian Gulf Arab countries to ramp up oil production.
Aye, Have they opened that Liathon? I think it's called.
Following up on Washington's agenda of enabling normalization between Arab states and Israel, which is aimed at pushing the Palestinian cause to the sidelines. Upon disembarking from U.S. Air Force One, which arrived at Ben Gurion Airport, Biden said he did not think a Palestinian state was likely to happen in the near future. Just as Biden was visiting Israel, the regime's military bulldozers began plowing lands belonging to 4 Palestinian villages between Ramallah and Nablus. Israeli settlements in the West Bank, which house more than 600,000 settlers, are viewed by Palestinians as a major obstacle to their future state and lasting peace between Jews.
Look, here's the reality of what's happening. Accept it not. You can say the rights or the wrongs, but it's the reality of what's happening. To claim to be a democracy, they need to change the demographics. The exact same shit happened in Northern Ireland as well, to maintain democratic superiority. And look into the history of the creation of Israel and the demographics of how many Jews there were before fucking World War II and how many there are now compared to Arabs and Muslims and all the rest of it. All the whole colours of the rainbow, Christians included as well. Go and look at the demographics. And the people who democratically control Israel can stand up, can pretend they're on the biggest moral high ground and say, we're just doing what the majority of the people want us to do. It's a democracy. Democracy scam. It's such a... It's the same old story, just a different place of the world. And then maybe ask the question, this is what I've done to myself, who's actually in power? Because I don't I don't know if people might be naive to some of the goings on inside Israel as a country. It's not just a united one big kumbaya, let's take over the world. It's got fucking hundreds of different demographics in there, man. A lot of different tribes, a lot of tribes considered more important than others, a lot of demographics, Ethiopian Jews, fucking European Jews, Orthodox Jews. There's tons, even more than I actually know, to be quite honest. And it's dead fractured. And then look who the ruling class in Israel is, where it came from, and why probably a lot of them, a high proportion of them, have fucking skin cancer. Don't know, man. Hanging around in your hometown, you would think, genetically speaking, your skin might be a wee bit more appropriate for the weather conditions, but the ruling class in Israel, and then go and look who signed the piece of paper to create Israel for Mr. Rothschild, whatever his first name was, can't remember, the one that created Israel. I'm talking about Lord Balfour, and go and look who Lord Balfour was, because without Lord Balfour signing that document, the creation of Israel as we know it wouldn't have been in the hands of a child of the city of London, as white as Casper the fucking Ghost, to go and create Israel. Look where all the Israeli forces got a lot of their equipment and training from. The Mossad was initially, the best of the shit when I looked into it, was a lot of their training came straight from the SAS. So this is just things that I like to point out. It's never as simple as the Jews are taking over the world, let's get them. It's a lot more complicated than that. I remember when people first came to me like, they're fake Jews, they're fake Jews. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I opened my mind, and I found it severely interesting. And then just as you just look further down the rabbit hole of politics in general, you see what a shit show it is, and how much all of it is just pretty much contrived and bullshit. Like, Lord Balfour was a fundamental Christian who hated Jews because they killed the baby Jesus. He's the man that created modern day Israel under the administration of Lord Rothschild, using the political movement of Zionism. That's the facts. And Lord Balfour was a fundamental Christian. There's lots of fundamental Christians that hate the Jews out there because they murdered baby Jesus, as the word of God, the Bible says. And if you were wanting to control an area of land, take it away from the Ottoman Empire, and you had a long-term strategy, and you hated a particular demographic, would you try and wipe them out, or would you usurp them and take over them? Create a ruling class to rule the Jews and use them as cannon fodder to take over that area of land and control it? That's what I think. That's how crazy my mind is, and where my head's at about what's going on in that area of town. And that's why I can say what I see. You know, it isn't hard to say what you see. There's an ethnic cleansing, some would call it a genocide, going on, and it's to change the demographics, and it's to justify themselves in the cold light of day by saying, "No, we're the only modern democracy in the Middle East." Pish like that. You know, the stuff that you hear when you're pointing out the genocide and all that is going on. And this isn't the first time it's happened. Look at the clan clearances. You know? A lot of people forget about that. What happened up here. Fucking taking away our language, taking away our tartan. Fucking slaughtering, genociding clans, usurping and paying off others, the whole fucking 9 yards. The redcoats back in the day up in the Highlands, not in the Lowlands. But anyway, oh shit, I forgot you can't pause this. After us. But anyway, that's my bullcrap on the
in the government alliance, the Five-Star Movement, abstaining from voting. In a statement, Draghi said that the pact of trust at the base of the government's action and the conditions to carry out the executive's program no longer exist. However, President of the Republic Sergio Mattarella rejected Draghi's resignation in an attempt to break the political impasse, inviting the former European Central Bank President to address Parliament and to assess the situation.
I have already said that there won't be a second Draghi government. Let me say, this executive has dealt with the ongoing tensions pretty well.
The Five-Star Movement pooled its support for the Draghi government over a bill aimed at helping businesses and households with skyrocketing energy prices and a provision for a trash incinerator in Rome, a project the once anti-establishment party staunchly opposes. The Mario Draghi government was formed after ex-Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte's second executive collapsed.
This is the crazy shit that's going on over in Italy.
Draghi was appointed to address
the crazy shit that's happening in the UK.
And to manage about
oh, and by the way, see Lord Balfour,
in grants and
he's a descendant of Robert the Bruce, who wanted his heart buried where when he died? Jerusalem, funnily enough. The area of land that Lord Balfour signed into the hands of a city of London, a child of the city of London. Ask yourself who Rothschild was loyal to. The city of London and his pals down there, and his banking fraternity and his close group of
whatnots. Italian President Mattarella takes on a central role
or the
now.
religion of Judaism,
to try to persuade outgoing Prime Minister Draghi to form another executive, find a new caretaker leader to take the country to an election next year, or call an early elections in September. October would be an unprecedented event in Italy's political history.
I think he usurped it, to be honest. He just paid money to make it his and use that as the battering ram of the political entity to create
while the war
the state
rages
of
on
Israel
in Donbass, Johnny
using the
Miller
Jews
reports on a kill list
human shields,
associated
cannon
with the
fodder,
Ukrainian government
whatever way you want to look at it,
violence
to control
against pro-Russia children.
Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
This is the notorious Ukrainian
that's
website,
where the baby Jesus is rumored to be buried, in the holiest place.
It publishes the names and addresses of those it
Christendom,
deems to be enemies of Ukraine. The opening page shows pictures of dead Russian soldiers.
Christians have free passage to that right now. It's a round church, and that's why you get a lot of people paying homage to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
Now, shamefully, they are adding
by
children to the list.
Round monuments.
This is Faina Sevenkova. She is 13 years old and has been writing about her experiences here in Donbass. After her name appeared on the list, she started to receive threats of physical violence online.
Are you worried about being on the website? Are you concerned that something might happen to you?
Yes, of course. A person I knew got to know my address and came to greet me for my birthday. These are good intentions, but something worse can happen. Websites like this shouldn't exist. They're illegal. They put many people in danger, children as well. I have a friend who was put on there because she wrote a poem about war.
Numerous journalists and public figures have been murdered after being put on the list, like Oles Bazina, who was shot near his home in Kiev, and Andrea Riccelli, an Italian journalist. After he was killed on the front line, the website posted "liquidated" over his photo. The Committee to Protect Journalists has previously written to the Ukrainian government asking them to condemn the unfounded and damaging allegations published on Miro Tervets and to clarify publicly that the Ukrainian Interior Ministry is dedicated to protecting journalists. The United Nations and Human Rights Watch have also condemned the site.
Is
this
it
is
true?
Yanis Petkonen,
Who knows?
a Finnish journalist in Donbass.
Possibly.
He's also on the list.
It's all against all international laws, and you shouldn't have right. Any country shouldn't have a right to do that kind of like hunting lists, kill lists of people and put it to the public. Especially, it's a very brutal way how to cause people serious problems, and many have lost their lives because of
psychological warfare in it, man. It's going to make you fucking think twice.
Information for law enforcement authorities and special services. Ukrainian government ministers have praised the site, and it is actively used by the authorities to track and detain enemies of the state. While Western media and governments try to whitewash the extremist or far-right neo-Nazi elements here in Ukraine, calling it Russian propaganda,
Johnny Miller. Alright, Johnny, my man.
And used by the government that openly encourages violence towards children is a clear indication that Ukraine does have a serious problem with state-sponsored extremism.
They're basically encouraging people to kill people on the list?
Yeah, they basically, that's why I've been in since 2015. I certainly cannot fall to Ukrainian hands because I am on that list with several pages
now,
even.
Just keep an open mind that this might be as much wag the dog, contrived bullshit as we will see on the BBC.
Hopefully all sense and truth and
could
peace-loving people.
You just need to bear that in mind. You just don't know, and you can say, you can pure believe it. It can fit your worldview. It can fit your what you think might be going on. But you just don't know. This press TV is full of propaganda. Propaganda doesn't need to be lies. I know that, but it can be selected truths. And obviously leaving out the fact
accepted the president's
the other side is doing the
2 days
exact same
after
shit.
He fled the country following months-long protests. The president said that he sent his resignation from Singapore by email on Thursday. The prime minister has been sworn in as the acting president until Parliament elects an MP to succeed the president. The Parliament Speaker says that the process will take place quickly. Last week, protesters angry at the spiraling economic crisis stormed the president's residence and office in Colombo. They blamed him for the crisis that has made it extremely difficult for Sri Lankans to buy food, fuel, and medicine. The protests have been ongoing since March. The demonstrators say that they want change of the whole governing system.
Now, that's very, very interesting. I don't know a lot about Sri Lanka, right? What I do know is it's right off the coast of India. I do declare, which would lead me to believe that back in the day, and I'm second guessing here, right? But I think it would be accurate. At the time of the Raj, the British Empire controlling India and that whole area, the continent, Pakistan, it's included Pakistan and all that as well. I would surmise that Sri Lanka would have been one of the first places they would conquer because of how strategically easy it is to defend it, being a smaller island. You know, your front lines are going to be a hell of a lot smaller. It's going to be easier to fortify and have a. That would, for me, just looking at it, for stupid man's eyes, that would be the first part. Oh shit, I keep forgetting. Can't fucking pause that.
A month later, then the telescope underwent months-long
That's the first place I would fortify.
To infer
so I'd imagine there
all
would be old
components. James Webb is now finely tuned and fully focused.
British Empire
the telescope
elements
is expected to shed light on the life cycles of
just
planets
like
and galaxies.
there still is in Hong Kong, and both those areas are kicking up a stink right now.
Children in Qatar are helping the conservation program revive the population of a critically endangered species of turtles. The children help release the baby turtles.
The baby turtles? What the fuck? Right, sorry man, I'm not listening to that shit.
Distinctive industries boost rural and preserve and use cultural heritage.
That's him in the
Ambassadors and diplomats from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations have met with members of China's top political advisory body, that's the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, and they discussed regional ties and cooperation between China and ASEAN countries. Yo Yang has the details.
China's are whispering,
Topics
man.
like consultative democracy and national governance, and China and ASEAN a shared destiny.
Sorry for the low audio, man. I've got it all jacked up. And
talks between CPPCC members and ASEAN nations senior diplomats. The vice chairman of the National Committee of the CPPCC, Ma Biao, hailed the long-lasting friendship between China and ASEAN nations. Meanwhile, Zhu Yongxin.
China needs to add some sex appeal to their news, do a little bit like RT, man, you know, get an Abby Martin type. Get them out underneath the desk, walking about with a wee short skirt on, high heels. Boom! Viewership. Triple. Easy peasy, man. Come on, China's get your finger out. I'm interested what the BBC's actually saying, right enough. Food.
And with Saturday Kitchen Live, Saturdays at 10 on BBC One and iPlayer.
Suzanne Allen. The Met Office warns of a possible risk to life as temperatures head towards 40 degrees in parts of England on Monday and Tuesday. The
We're cooking on gas now.
Heat warning means there could be disruption to travel, energy supplies, as well as damage to property.
I never thought I'd get to the day of seeing a 40 Celsius on the map, which is a small possibility it will happen, and that sort of thing is going to have such big
possibility it will
to our
happen.
daily life.
I love getting told you're going to die based on a small possibility it's going to happen. Woohoo! Death, destruction at the door, at the door.
Archie Battersby can be withdrawn. New figures show COVID infections in the UK have risen by 29% in a week. 3.5 million cases were recorded. The government's urged to officially apologise to thousands of unmarried moms who were forced into giving up their babies for adoption.
You know, I had to touch a cold for a couple of days. I mean, like,
on the second
it was
day of
bull
the
crap.
And on reporting Scotland, the rate of COVID infections here is still climbing, according to today's figures.
We just heard
and
that. Don't you just love your BBC licence payers money getting paid to tell you same shit twice? They'll tell you the weather on the BBC One, man. Then they'll tell you the BBC. They'll tell you the weather again. The exact same weather for the exact same source for the exact same information. Just be a different talking head. Double wage. I wonder how much wages the weatherman gets when
Good
to tell
afternoon
you
and
the weather
welcome to
twice.
BBC News at 1. The Met Office has issued a rare extreme weather warning for parts of England on Monday and Tuesday. The UK Health Security Agency
That's what you get for
has
having a
also
summer.
increased its heat health warning from level 3 to level 4. The government says that meets the definition of a national emergency. For the first time ever, temperatures could hit 40 degrees. The highest recorded temperature in the UK was 38.7 degrees Celsius in Cambridge in 2019. The warning covers Manchester, the Midlands and London. A Met Office red warning means that there is a potential danger to life with substantial disruption to travel, energy
And
supplies
look at
and
that.
possibly
Just
widespread
cuts
damage
off.
to property and
Edinburgh's
infrastructure.
getting it.
Our correspondent Simon
The
Jones
yellow
is
shit
in
anyway.
central London. Simon.
Might go through Edinburgh for the day.
Well, it's already feeling really hot here, but the temperature is only 24 degrees. But come the start of next week, in certain places, that could rise by another 15 degrees or so, and that takes us into unprecedented territory. That's why we've had this unprecedented warning from the Met Office for extreme heat. We're told things are going to get much worse. Now, some people in this park are enjoying the sunshine, others are sticking to the shade, but everyone is being told we need to be prepared for
there and
what's
people
ahead.
were getting evacuated and stuff.
It's already hot in much of the UK, and it's about to get much
we're used to 30, but
potentially
no 40.
record-breaking temperatures
We're looking at the
forecast
temperature
for the
in the
start of
sauna,
next
man,
week,
and it wasn't
and
even
that's
that
not
hot.
welcome by all.
I don't think I've ever experienced weather like that here before. It feels like we're on a different continent with weather like that, and I'd be a little bit concerned to understand, is this going to be the new normal?
Over here, this city gets over a certain temperature,
fuck.
and it has been brutal.
This is the hottest weather since records began. 22 years ago.
The red warning, which is in place on Monday and Tuesday, covers London and the Midlands.
New
and goes as far
instruments,
north as
better
Manchester,
instruments,
New York.
more
This
accurate,
unprecedented
predicting the weather's
warning
getting
for
easier
extreme
and
heat means
better.
there is a potential risk to life.
And
People in the
there's people
affected
getting paid
areas
lots
are
of
being
money to
told they
tell you
may
it's
need to
global warming.
change their daily routine. There could be disruption to the power supply, to water, even mobile phone signals.
Well, this is likely to be record-breaking, so we see temperatures never recorded before in the UK. Records should only be broken rarely. It's only 3 years ago since we last broke a temperature record, so these are becoming more and more common. I never thought I'd get to the day of seeing a 40 Celsius on the map, which is a small possibility it will happen, and that sort of thing is going to have such big impacts to our daily life.
The Met Office says the
Monday
hot
and
weather is being
Tuesday.
caused by high pressure over the UK and hot air flowing from southern Europe.
This is sort of like a harbinger to what is to come, and we can expect such temperatures going forward. In view of climate change and rising greenhouse gas emissions and rising temperatures globally.
How long does it take to see a warm day? When did the records begin? Are we using more accurate
it is very much
thermometers?
interlinked to climate change, and it
Or
is
the
sort
weather
of an indication
prediction
that we should
machines?
start acting.
The advice is to slap on plenty of sun cream if you do venture out, or preferably stay out of the sun altogether. We're being urged to stay hydrated and look out for vulnerable people. The heat is expected to increase pressure on the NHS. Extreme heat demanding an extreme response. The UK Health Security
Glasgow's
Agency
not getting
says
it.
its heat health warning is now at level 4, and that denotes a national emergency. Simon Jones, BBC News.
Well, the extreme heat we're experiencing is coming from Europe, where soaring temperatures have already sparked wildfires. Dozens
Fuck's
of
sake,
fires have
Jeffrey,
broken
man,
out
so you
in
get
Portugal,
40
including
every
near
summer
the
down
city
there?
of Coimbra, killing at least one person. Meanwhile, the city of Badajoz in Spain endured temperatures of 43 degrees. Further north, in France, a wildfire ripped through vast areas of pine trees south of Bordeaux, and many Bastille Day celebrations had to be cancelled. The Spanish region of Andalusia has endured
Man,
some of the
fucking
hottest
Portugal's like
temperatures,
80%.
including the
It's
city
at risk of
Córdoba,
going up in
where
flames,
our
apparently.
correspondent Guy Hedgecoe reports.
43, man. 44, fuck's sake.
The people of Córdoba know all about heat.
Situated in the Guadalquivir Valley in southern Spain, summers in this historic city are notoriously hot and dry. But this summer already looks hotter than usual. The country is in the grip of the second heat wave of recent weeks. For many of the tourists who come here, temperatures in the mid-40s Celsius come as a shock.
We're from Denmark. For me, too hot. This is too hot.
I don't mind, actually.
This is crazy.
The locals experience has shown them how to deal with these conditions.
I'd need to grow some hair for it to go frizzy, buddy.
Underlying conditions and you expose yourself to the sun.
This is what happened. I was heading out yesterday
but if you go out earlier in the day,
2 bells, back of 2,
then you'll be okay.
And it was a relatively nice day, and I decided to put my hoodie on because I thought it might be staying out late. And I did stay out late, and it was fucking Baltic by the time I was going home, man.
Force to the elderly and babies to be hydrated. To drink water.
That's just
you must
Glasgow
watch
for me.
them closely. I suggest that the people stay at home from 1 to 6 p.m. now with the degrees so high.
This heat wave is unusual because of its impact across the whole country.
Right.
Even northern areas.
We get the idea now, don't we?
Worst of the summer heat.
I don't know about you guys and girls, but warm weather.
It's evening
Protect
time.
yourself before you wreck yourself.
38.7 degrees Celsius that was...
And it's global warming, obviously.
Brain injury should have his treatment withdrawn, a High Court judge has ruled today. Mr Justice Hayden said compelling medical evidence showed Archie Battersby had no hope of recovery. Let's talk to our correspondent Catherine DaCosta, who is outside the court.
So, is this went to the High Court because the parents aren't willing to pull the plug, and the High Court has overruled the parents?
They don't believe removing life support is in Archie's best interest. They
I know what I think is right.
To launch another appeal. Now,
from an objective point of view,
gymnast full of life and energy.
But who the fuck am I to force that on parents?
For treatment to continue.
And I would argue same rules apply when it comes to
injury following an incident at his home in
the judge and whatnot, man.
His parents believe he may have been taking part in an online challenge. Now, doctors at the Royal London Hospital have said that Archie is brain dead and with no prospect of recovery. Last month, the High Court judge ruled that treatment could lawfully be withdrawn, but his parents challenged that decision at the Court of Appeal and they won. And today, Mr Justice Hayden said the medical prognosis was bleak and he said it was not in Archie's best interest to remain on a ventilator. He added that arrangements could be put in place to allow Archie to die peacefully surrounded by his family. But his parents have said this is not the end of the road. His mother added, where there's life, there's hope.
Thank you, Catherine. A 45-year-old British man captured in Ukraine and held by pro-Russian separatist forces has reportedly died in captivity.
Right, now, I love this story, man. It is fucking hilarious how they can say this shit with a fucking straight face. This man, who was called a mercenary by the so-called People's Republic of Donetsk, he was there doing charity. He had a cape on and some tights, and he went into enemy territory, him and just a few others, to rescue a woman, a damsel in distress. He had his cape and tights on, and he thought he was playing Mario Brothers and saving a princess. He was collecting coins and mushrooms on the way and making fun noises when he was jumping. Boop, boop. That's all he was doing. Nothing to see here. Oh my god. This bitch deserves the fucking money. These news reporters, man, see to fucking churn this shit out. They've be a straight-ish face. Oh my, but Boris Johnson couldn't do this. In fact, Boris Johnson told you that the teacher that was in the Iranian jail, I think she's been released now, was actually a spy, and he had to come out and go, oh, I said she was a spy, but no, she wasn't. Bobo Johnson couldn't keep a straight face saying this shit, man. And I think he worked in news at some point. Did he not work for the Telegraph and the European Union? I think something like
that. Officials from the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic.
Self-proclaimed! I am He-Man! Self-proclaimed He-Man, but He-Man nevertheless.
Public, who were holding Paul Urey, say he died 5 days ago from underlying health conditions and...
Maybe get the shit kicked out of him in the fucking Ukrainian jail.
Stress. Our correspondent Joe Inwood is in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. Joe, tell us what you know.
So Paul Urey and another man, Dylan Healy, were captured by Russian forces.
Two people! They both had tights on and wearing a cape. They both had fucking masks on as well, man. They were like, Captain America! Or Captain Batman! Batman was British, wasn't he? I think.
Back in April, trying to cross into Russian-occupied territory, supposedly on a humanitarian...
Oh man, this guy deserves his money as well, churning out this bullshit, man. How can these boys and girls keep a fucking straight face saying this shit? Two guys! So, they're even saying supposedly. They're covering their fucking ass. Why are you churning out pish?
Mission to rescue a family. It obviously went disastrously wrong, and he's been in captivity ever since. The only thing we've seen of him was a single video put out by the authorities. And we found the news today that he has reportedly died, as you say, of health conditions and stress while in captivity. Now, Mr. Urey's mother has put out a statement online saying she's absolutely devastated, she's in shock, and she blames the Russian authorities for what has happened. Now, interestingly, the Russians say that Mr. Urey was there as a...
God, I can't hear that. Anyway, Alan, fuck's sake, man, your rain's over in Portugal, buddy. Hopefully they're okay. Ed McVicker in the afternoon, gents. Hopefully yous are all good. And remember, guys and girls, if you do appreciate the stream, stick a wee thumbs up. It should be, unless I get a better offer, doing my Not the Infowars nightly news tonight. It just depends what happens after the gym and whatnot.
Mercenary. That is something that is strenuously denied by both his family here, the Presidium Network who've been working with him, and the British...
The Presidium Network! Oh my lordy lord, go and check them guys out, man. They are mercenaries.
Foreign Office. They have not confirmed the death officially, but it is thought that the reports are accurate. There's also been thought in...
It is thought that the reports are accurate. They were wearing tights and a cape. And just decided they got words on the bat phone, you see. The red phone that they had in their office. And then they decided, okay, let's go on and take a whole fucking army, just the two of us. We've got a cape and a pair of tights. And we'll go in there and we'll rescue our family from a whole fucking army. We'll go in behind the front lines, almost like commando style, but we're not commandos. We're superhero fucking activists going there to save a family. Oh my lord and lord. God knows what they were there for. Hit and run, gather intelligence, but they were certainly trying to, a small, very small group, two guys, were trying to get behind Russia's front lines and do X, Y, or Z and got captured. And now this bullshit's getting spewed out on fucking TV that the general public pay for, and the general public are paying for people to lie to them straight up. It's almost as bad as Boris Johnson telling you the woman jailed in Iran was a spy and then having to retract it later on. Who's in charge of this information? Boris Johnson told you the truth and had to retract the truth. They have to maintain face.
Recent weeks and months, the Russians have been using British hostages, British captives, as part of some political tool or some negotiating strategy.
That's what happens when you get prisoners of war and fucking wallopers for the UK fucking thinking they're Rambo bouncing about fucking Ukraine. All the mercenaries for the UK fucking out of job fucking dudes that need some fucking heads to smash in. They do exist, man, this shit goes on. But not in BBC land. Not in the Orwellian
If that is
Wonderland.
the case, then Mr Yuri has paid a very high price indeed for that tactic.
Thank you. Joe Inwood in Kyiv.
Kyiv!
Here, the head of the UK's biggest private sector union has warned of a summer of discontent over pay. Sharon Graham said it was
baby!
that the
What
people
else
who
is
kept
going to
Britain
fuck up?
going through the pandemic
The ambulances
were
are
facing real
fucked. The
term
NHS
wage
is
cuts.
fucked.
Their comments
Our
come as the
airports are
RMT
fucked.
announced more
Cops up
strike
here are
dates,
going
which
on
could bring
strike.
large parts of the rail
Politicians are
network
all
to a standstill
wankers and
once again.
wallopers and
Our business
liars.
correspondent Carrie Davis
Confirmed.
reports.
We've got a
Empty
fucking
tracks and stationary
a
trains
dosser
going nowhere.
in number 10
This was
who says he was
June's
going to
rail
leave and he's not
strike,
leaving.
but there are more on the way.
Squatters
40,000 train
rights.
workers from the RMT union will walk out on the 27th of July and now also
Trains.
on the 18th
I
and
think the trains
20th
are
of August.
fucking going on strike
Train
as
drivers
well,
from
they
the
know.
ASLEF union from 8
Yep.
companies will also strike on the 30th of July. The
Electricity
RMT
is going
rail
through the
industry
roof,
and
so you can't
government
even afford
needed
to
get
turn your
serious
fucking
about a pay offer.
TV on.
If you don't get a pay rise that
To
matches
listen
the
to
rate
this
of
shit.
inflation, you're getting poorer year on year, and that's been happening to many public sector workers for the last 12 years. So I want a pay rise for everyone in this country and in this economy.
Alright, number
And what's happening
55.
is that the rich are getting richer, profits are being maintained and even accelerating, while workers are getting poorer, and that cannot continue.
Unions are confident that with so many struggling with the cost of living, the public will stay on side. But this morning at London Bridge, there were mixed reactions to the strikes.
It's just ridiculous. It's happening too often. I mean, we're doctors and it's difficult for us to get around and do our procedures. I mean, I had to cancel something last week, the last strike. Bit of a nightmare, really, isn't it? You know, so.
The only strength that we have as workers is our labour, so withholding that is the only way that we can get
the lawyers went in strike, looking and nobody fucking noticed. I can believe that.
The group that represents the rail companies says that strikes cause more problems than solutions.
No one wins in the event of a strike. You know, the taxpayer has to subsidise more, staff have to lose more wages, and of course it puts off customers.
No. We're all there's hundreds of money in the fucking train service. It's all going a fucking broad. Go and look who owns all the private entities who own the stocks and shares, the private stocks and shares who get dividends paid to them all the fucking time out of profits. Well, fucking the taxpayer still has to plough money in. It's a fucking scam.
I don't think that's militant. I think that's basically saying
it's going over to the French and Spanish state-owned railways. The state-owned railways in France
Caroline Davis,
and Spain
Time now is
own shit in
just
British.
after 1:15, and our top story, your top
Real.
story this lunchtime.
Stop.
The Met Office warns of a possible risk to life as temperatures head towards 40 degrees in parts of England on Monday and Tuesday. And still to come, we hear that despite offering well-paid jobs, there's a lack of talent in the tech sector.
And on reporting Scotland, the rate of COVID infections here is still climbing, according to today's figures.
You paid twice for the same shit.
And we are at St Andrews with the very latest from golf's Open Championship.
Oh, he's fucked. He's no 6 over. Push. That competition's been going for 400 odd years.
The government is being urged to formally apologise to hundreds of thousands
set
of
up
unmarried mums.
Professional, one
who
of the
were
first
forced into
professional
giving up their
sports set up in the
babies
UK.
for adoption.
Why?
A cross-party group
To
of
stop
MPs
the
and
guillotine.
peers began investigating after
Crossing
a
the
series of
channel.
reports by BBC News. They found nearly 200,000 mothers were coerced into adoption in the 3 decades after the Second World War. Duncan Kennedy reports.
Right.
These are the faces of all the pain.
There are no new restrictions, and there's a whole philosophy now of living with COVID. That being said,
BBC News.
Tragic,
Figures just
man.
out show another increase in
Heartbreaking,
COVID
actually.
infections in the UK. Almost 3.5 million people.
Hold on, the
had
Scottish
virus
woman
last
just
week.
told us that shit.
The
Why
latest
have we
data
got
from
this
the
one
Office for
telling us and
National
that one telling us we need to pay them
Statistics
twice
shows COVID infections
for
in the
two
UK
big massive fucking
jumped by
studios and all that?
29%
Electricity's
in
fucking
a
dear
week.
now, man.
Our health editor Hugh Pym is here. How worried should we be?
Hugh
Victoria, I
Pym.
think it's worrying in different ways for different people. I think for most people going out and about, there are no new restrictions, and there's a whole philosophy now of living with COVID. That being said, you can catch it, and it can be quite unpleasant if you're stuck at home with really quite nasty symptoms. It's a bit worrying for employers with absences, for example, in the NHS
50
and
grand
social care.
under 55,
Not necessarily
fuck's
so
sake,
worrying
man, I didn't
for
realise
hospitals in
they were on
terms of
so
numbers
much.
of seriously ill people, because we know that Omicron is a bit milder when it comes to making people seriously ill. Worrying in a different way,
right?
For someone who has an underlying health condition.
I don't want to get on the back of the train drivers, but what do they do nowadays in all seriousness?
Left out of the debates we've been having, and the fact that
Fucking, it's
COVID
like
is spreading
playing
and
a
rising
very
quite
boring
fast,
computer
is
game
a
with
worry.
just
So
forward
the numbers are
and
up
back.
29%, 3.5
Well,
million in the
let's
week,
make it more complicated.
to last week,
Forward,
up from 2.7
back,
million,
and
largely
stop.
fueled by these new sub-variants of Omicron called BA4 and BA5,
You're sitting there with
which
your
tend to
big
spread more
fucking
rapidly.
Well, I don't
if you
know.
look at the UK numbers, Scotland has the highest case rate level.
Number
1 in
one.
16 had the virus
I
last week.
just
England
wanna
1 in
be
19,
yeah,
Wales and Northern
number
Ireland 1 in 17.
one. It was
Hospital
just a
numbers are
thing
creeping
before,
up,
yeah,
far fewer than
we're
we've
the
had at
one.
previous big peaks. It's gone up to about 16,000 across the UK, or heading in that direction. But we should make it clear it's not quite where it was.
Are
even in
people
March this
that
year.
have
We
been
had
vaccinated
4.9 million infections
getting this shit?
1 week. So that's not that long ago. So I think there's still a need for caution out there, given at the rate it's spreading, although schools are about to go on holiday. They're already on holiday in Scotland, and that's one factor that will be taken out of the equation in terms of facilitating the spread of the virus.
So that will help. Thank you very much, Hugh.
Facilitate? All right,
Our
right.
health editor.
You could
The latest
get
candidates
that.
out of the
You could, depending on how programmed you are, you could interpret that the wrong way. You could say that he's saying, "Oh my God, we've had to take that out of the equation in terms of how do we facilitate the virus." But that's not the way he's meaning it. He's meaning it when we're talking about the what's facilitating the spread of the virus. Up in Scotland, they can take out schools being part of the problem for a small time anyway. So different ears for people that like different beers. So I'm saying.
The Conservative leadership contest, Attorney General Suella Braverman has announced that she will now support Liz Truss. The Foreign Secretary came third to the former Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, and the Trade Minister, Penny Mordaunt, in the second round of voting. Whoever wins the race to be the next Prime Minister, it will have been the most ethnically diverse political party leadership contest in UK history. So,
What? Who's keeping score of this shit? Why are people fucking for people that like different beers? So I'm saying.
The Conservative leader.
I'm honestly sick to the back teeth of like fucking all this race baiting, pandering, and people virtue signalling. Like, see if you're no racist, you don't need to virtue signal about all this pish. You just go about your business without fucking giving a fuck about race. Because it's not really top of your fucking to give a fuck about list. And the more people that done that, the more people would fucking just get on about their business and just get along instead of fucking virtue signalling and dividing people with this group, that group, and the other group. Anyway.
What does that tell us, if anything, about British politics? Our political correspondent Layla Nephew reports.
On the face
It tells
of it,
us
it's
that we're
been the
the
most
virtue
diverse
signalling
leadership contest
fucking
yet in
it's
British
craziest.
politics. Even as the candidates have been whittled
I
down,
do like the
it's
inclusion of a
striking that
Romulan,
two
though.
of the 5 remaining contenders
That's
are people of
next
colour.
level inclusionism.
Along
Hey,
the
there's
way,
the Romulan.
they've all pointed to their backstories.
We've got fucking Star Trek in the fucking house, man. That's how inclusive UK politics tits is,
more about
people.
what they'll do.
Don't vote for me because
And I'm sure she had a
Vote for me
role
because
in
I love this
EastEnders.
country
Can't remember the character's name. Romulan, ex-EastEnders star.
I tell the truth. I fight for change. I stand up for people, and I stand up
Venus
for the causes
Williams.
and the country I love.
Senior Tories
An
say
American.
the background of the candidates isn't a priority for the party.
Who gives a flying fuck? It does look like though they had to fucking pick one colour of it, one colour of the rainbow, and somebody for another planet. The Romulan guy, Shunek, a fucking Romulan name as well.
Identity politics, in terms of race or gender or any of that.
It's virtue signals.
The
Ooh, look
Conservative
how
Party
good a
certainly
party
looks
we
different
are.
these days. It was David Cameron who, on taking over as leader, set out to get more minority candidates selected to safe Conservative
Positive discrimination. The clue and the key word there is discrimination.
While the candidates are
And
still
positive discrimination has a counter effect and makes people fucking
in the end be up to fewer than
take, people get their
200,000
arsehole over
mostly
it,
white
and I can
Conservative Party
understand why.
members to decide who wins.
When members choose a leader, what they're looking for is someone who can communicate, someone who can radiate strength, someone who can bring the party together. That's very important as well. And of course, policy platform matters as well. And I think all of those matter far more than the colour of someone's skin.
55, I watch EastEnders and Coronation Street, man. Love them.
The Conservative leadership
I say
context
watch, I
reflects
put them
that.
on and
But there
kind
are
of
still
half
questions
watch them
about
to
how
be quite
socially
honest.
diverse this place
Like, I wouldn't be able
and the
to really
candidates
tell you
are.
like the name of
And would a future
characters and
Prime
shit.
Minister of colour
But I
see
do
policies
stick my
towards
nose
racial
in it's a wee
inequality, for
comfort
example,
blanket or
that
something
sets
for
them
some reason.
apart
I've had a
from those
filthy
who came
habit
before.
for fucking
It's a
years
conversation for those.
Tory MPs and members will want to choose a leader they think can keep them in power. Whoever wins this race will soon face all voters in a general election and will have to attract support from all corners. Leila Nathu, BBC News, Westminster.
Mate, I find the soaps...
Technology experts are warning that a shortage of people...
I find this... See, watching soaps, it's like a magic 8 ball, but it's real, right? And I'll give you an example. Look what's happening in real life right now with the Ofcom probably going to get the powers to regulate internet content, which is quite a fucking step, man. It's making the British government, I mean, Ofcom, being able to independently regulate the internet or content on it. It's to protect children, no? This is at the same time where there's a story in Coronation Street, which I kind of resonate with. And this lassie's went into politics. She became a councillor. She just wanted to change. Of course, she wanted to recycle and all that shit. Boom! There's one agenda. The fucking green agenda getting pushed in the soaps. Then, in the next breath, she's getting trolled to the extent where she's getting trackers put in and she's getting doxxed and all that online, and people are making videos of her and deep fakes. They're actually using deep fakes on Coronation Street. This is the lingo. Deep fakes. And they've made fake porno about her and shit. Oh, man. So I find it interesting that way, mate. It's just a magic 8 ball into what's happening in the culture. Because Coronation Street and EastEnders create the culture, still to a certain extent.
With digital skills is threatening to harm the sector. The industry body Tech Nation
I'll get ninja skills, I mean
2
digital
million
skills.
vacancies were advertised over the last year, more than any other area of the UK labour market. Shona McCallum reports.
The UK technology scene is bursting with opportunity. Something that Ben
They
Francis,
do always end
the
up
founder
dead
of
or with
online
a bag
clothing
of chips,
company
buddy, you're
Gymshark,
right.
knows well.
I cannot believe I'm stood here saying this, but Gymshark is worth $1.4 billion. We're coming up to a point now where there's
Christmas
clearly
dinner
so much
last year
change going
because
on
your
in
Christmas
the world.
dinner was not
And I
diverse
think
enough.
with change comes opportunity, and I think it's people through tech that will solve some of the most
Mate,
complex
what you should have
problems we
done
currently have.
is you should have got though. What is it? Do you know you get 3 birds in one or some shit? Is it 3 meats in one? They get 3 birds. I don't know how they do it. Some fucking ninja cooking skills, but you get 3 fucking birds in one. I think. Am I tripping? Is that a dream I had? Oh, I get a mixed grill last night, man. It was only fucking £7. And I found the cheapest pint in Glasgow. What fucking... The Witherspoons up here are doing Belhaven Best for $1.25. Cheapest pint in Glasgow by fucking far. Usually you're talking $4 a pint, man. Or just under. Anyway, back to the important stuff.
I think having a basic understanding of tech and development is going to be really, really important moving forward.
Despite the tech sector being one of the highest paid in the UK, with the average salary of £62,000,
the Scottish news?
that's double the average
Do you
household
know an
income.
independence hen?
The sector is still struggling to get skilled people for the jobs.
It's a real issue. We've got well-funded companies that have raised investment and
No
are
idea who
celebrating
she
the
was.
fact that they've got great investors on board, but then what they need to spend that on is fantastic people to help them grow and help them on their journey. And they can't always find them at the right time or with the right skills that they need. So there is a real shortage.
One place which is teaching young people important tech subjects is Ada, so I joined them for a lesson on coding.
The college was initially founded to address the digital
We need
gap,
Sunak
but
for foreign
unfortunately, I think
minister.
over time, it is
He's
just
good at
getting
dealing
greater.
with foreign races.
Our students
Being
come
a
to Ada
Romulan
because they want
himself.
that industry-centred education. They know their future is in technology, and they want to be in a place where we
Right.
can give them the best opportunity.
This is just boring.
Of golf for Tiger Woods.
Number 1.
He will not be joining.
Hot weather develop across Spain and Portugal. Portugal just a few tenths of a degree away from the northern areas of England, perhaps reaching. We're going to start to see those temperatures rise. Sunshine.
How many times can you see the same weather?
Ever issued.
COVID rates in Scotland have increased for the 6th week in a row,
Two
according to
for
the Office
one.
for National Statistics.
2 for 1.
Data for the week ending July 7th estimated
2
that 1 in
for
16
1.
people in Scotland would have tested positive for the virus. Our reporter, Aileen
We just
Clark,
heard
has been
this.
analysing the figures.
So, BBC
Gee,
licence
bunting
payers
not matched by the
feel
grey sky in
that your
Paisley
money
this morning.
is getting well
But
spent
disappointing
telling you
July
the same
weather,
shit.
not the only topic
Two
of
different
conversation
ways.
here,
One with
as
an English
COVID
accent
continues to
that
cast
you can
quite a
understand, and
cloud
one with a
over
Scottish
this
accent you
community,
can understand.
among
But hey,
many others.
Well, I
with
think COVID
another
3 weeks
studio,
ago,
there's more
I'm
pigs
hearing
at the
more
fucking
people
trough.
are getting it
There's
now
more
than
people
they did
living
before.
high in the
Well, that's me
hog.
had it for the first time only 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it definitely seems to be doing the rounds again for sure.
sake, what's
I
wrong
have
with her
heard
neck?
of offices that are now working back at home.
I cannot
because,
believe. I said this years ago, right? That the world had turned into Gotham City.
Still,
Oh my God,
my
what's she
daughter's had
doing
it
with a
twice,
pair
my
of?
son's had
Is
it
that
twice, I've had it
90-year-old with a
once.
pair of?
I work in a hospital
Dr. Dre
and
Beats or whatever
there's
they're
wards
called.
which are just full of COVID, and there's
Is that
patients always
Doherty?
getting COVID.
Is that Pete
It's a
Doherty
terrible
on the
thing.
left?
Now, it may be
He's
what we're all
like-
still talking
he's like
about,
rough
but the
Pete
experts who
Doherty.
study all the
He's
COVID
rough.
data are hoping that this wave may have peaked. Earlier this week, there was figures which
was
showed that
fucking
reported
funny,
cases
man.
were down and that hospital admissions were down. However, today's figures from the Office for National Statistics show the infection rate in Scotland is still increasing, though slowly.
This wave is not as high as the one in March. It shot up quickly, reached quite a high peak and dropped off rapidly. This one is a much flatter kind of wave, and we're hopefully reaching the top of it, and then we will see it gradually go back down.
Back in Paisley, better weather might be on the way, but it may be some time yet before COVID is no longer part of the daily dialogue. Aileen Clark, reporting Scotland, Renfrewshire.
What are you talking about? The Ukraine
A man
war
described as a
cured
deeply
COVID,
dangerous rapist who
and
spent a
they-
lifetime subjecting women to violent sex attacks has been told he may never be released from prison. Andrew Forbes' crimes began when he was just 15 years old. The 55-year-old was earlier found guilty of 8 charges for attacks on 3 women in Aberdeen between 1982.
So it only took 50 years, folks. They knew about him being fucking shit starting him when he was 5-year-old, and it only took easy peasy. This is how efficient Super Police Force fucking Scotland is, and their government and their fucking judicial system. 50 fucking years to go at him. Maybe, just fucking maybe, definitely, possibility, you might not get out of jail. Only 50 years, y'all. Only 50 years. I love Super Police Force Scotland. See, Kyle Sturgeon, you've got Super Police Force Scotland, your little dictatorial force, just where you want them. And they can't want to join them anymore. Recruitment figures are like a third of what they were.
And 2003. Police only became aware of the crimes when Forbes was already serving the second of 2 previous jail terms. The judge said Forbes had brought incalculable misery to his victims and set a minimum jail term of 4 years.
4. Oh,
New
God,
rail strikes have been announced on the
really
18th and 20th of August by the RNT union.
Again,
That's
2
in addition
for
to a
1.
planned walkout 2 weeks on Wednesday. The action by signalling and maintenance workers employed by Network Rail is expected to
The
cause
only
widespread
extra
disruption.
we got sprinkled
Meanwhile,
on the
Avanti
Scottish
West
top was
Coast
the
is warning
rapist.
passengers travelling between London and Scotland they could face last-minute cancellations because of soaring temperatures, which could cause rails to flex or buckle.
Woohoo!
Parents of many young people with disabilities say they are seeing little or no
If it's no
activity
leaves,
sessions
it's hot
on
weather.
offer for their children during the summer holidays. BBC Scotland contacted all 32 of Scotland's local authorities and only 3 could confirm they have an equal number of sessions for children with complex needs. Jacqueline Foy's son Patrick is offered just 2 groups a week compared to 7 for other children.
I want for Patrick is to have the same opportunities as every other child. So I'm not looking for any special privileges for him. I'm looking for the same privileges and the same treatment as every other child in North Lanarkshire or in the country gets.
2 people have been rescued from the River Clyde after a passing train driver spotted them in the water between Port Glasgow and Cardross. It's thought they'd been there for around an hour after a sailing boat capsized yesterday afternoon. The pair were relying on their life jackets to stay afloat. 1 casualty was taken to hospital in Glasgow by helicopter. Due to difficult terrain, the 2nd person was taken by rail to Cardross station and awaiting ambulance. A team of scientists have been looking at whether some people can really eat what they like and not gain weight. Research led by the University of Aberdeen and the Chinese Academy of Sciences studied the diets and lifestyles of the super lean. That's people who have a BMI of less than 18.5 and are healthy and underweight.
The main driver for it seems to be just eating
But
less
did she
food. I
say
mean,
18
I know
and a
it's a kind
half?
of boring message that, you know, you should eat less, but it seems to be genuinely that's what's going on with these people. They're eating less food. They're not doing tons and tons of physical activity. So maybe the message is, you know, eating less is maybe an easier way to get into
23.3, I'm not doing too shabby.
Wet weather at the 2nd day of play in the Open Championship hasn't dampened fans or players' enthusiasm, with the competition as fierce as ever. Our sports news correspondent...
Right. So, that'll do it for today. Shug, my man. Sorry, buddy. Should have gave you a shout, man. Aye, Shug, I might go along to that training sesh. I don't know how long it lasts, but I might take a wee saunter over, poke my nose in. If it's as boring as feck, just fuck off and find a wee beer garden close. Aye, man, I put myself on the waiting list for season tickets, but you only get offered a season ticket if you're a My Jers subscriber, and you need to resubscribe every fucking year. What a fucking scam, by the way. I wonder if other football clubs are operating that way. I really do. I've not found a Rangers fan that's fucking anywhere near happy about it at all. Number 55, how you doing? Aye, Shug, man. That dude, I watched the video of him, man. He does look good, that Swansea guy. But mate, I think all the free signings are kind of filling holes in the squad. And I think behind the scenes, we're either waiting... We've either got a big signing that was willing to come if we qualify for the Champions League, maybe, or we're just trying to work on a signing. I think we've still got like a Ryan Kent-esque signing to come this season, I think. And remember, guys and girls, if you do appreciate what I do and the stream, stick a wee thumbs up. That is much appreciated. I should be doing a Not the Infowars Nightly News tonight. Don't hold your breath, though. It depends what happens after the gym. But don't hold your breath. And tune in next Monday for Wag the Dog News. Normal service will be resumed. Unless it's like 1,000,000 degrees or whatever. I might even take a wee cycle up to Loch Lomond, depending on the weather. We've done that in a while, man. That's always good for them. Good stuff, mate. I feel fucking... I want to get the My Jers thing for the benefits it gives, but it's a pain in the... It's fucking horrible, man. Aye, mate, it is here to fucking stay. Right, Vicar, my man, you have a good weekend, buddy. I need to fucking... I keep saying this, mate. I fucking always keep myself busy nowadays, but I need to give you a shout, man. I'm going to give Martin a shout tomorrow as well, so I'll try and give you a shout tomorrow, mate, see if you can catch you when you've got a wee spare minutes for a chat. And Alan, mate, see if you wanted to come and meet the guys and girls that do that newspaper, The Light. You would love it more than me. You'd be like a pig and shit. All the chitty chats and stuff, man. So have a think if you want to saunter through the town next Thursday, mate. Meet the guys and girls. But I'll chat to you about that, man. Because they go to hunters up. They do hunters of protests and all that jazz, mate. And seemed like a good bunch. So I'll give you a shout. See if you fancy it. Don't need to hand out newspapers or anything, you know. You can just saunter along and chat to them. They'll quite happy to chat to you. Quite funny, man. Quite funny. When I speak to you, I'll tell you the stories that I can't say online. But I think you'll enjoy it, buddy. Oh, Jeffrey, nice one, my man. Cheers, buddy. I might... You know, do you know the only thing that's put me off cycling to Loch Lomond, and here's the reality, I don't know if I'm fit enough at this particular point. It's only like 2 weeks I've been going back to the gym, and I deliberately don't fucking knacker myself out at the gym. I just do it a little consistently, and don't fucking knacker myself out, because in the past I've went to the gym and fucking overdone it, and you end up all sore and skipping, and then you just don't fucking want to do it. So it's a slow burn. Plus, I just want to get my fitness back, to be quite honest. That's what I want, fitness. That's what I wanted back in 2017. Aye, no worries, mate. Alan, I'll grab you when I can, mate. I know you're probably out doing your thing, man. Here's the, never mind the bollocks, here's the SNP. Right, guys and girls, thank you very much. Remember, stick a wee thumbs up if you do appreciate it. Have a good weekend. If I don't see you tonight, make sure hit the notifications, and you might even get a notification when I go live. And if I'm through the town tonight, I might see something interesting. So, keep an eye out for any of that shit. Any of that shit. Alrighty, YouTube, thumbs it up. Have a good tune. I shall see yous next time. Catches. Kips clips. And remember, citizens, always subscribe and hit the bell. Everything will be well in 1995. Plus, shipping and handling will keep you out of hell. Why does a dog wag its tail? Because a dog is smarter than its tail. If the tail were smarter, the tail would wag the dog. Wag the dog in politics is the act of creating diversion from a damaging issue. Here at Wag the Dog News, the tail doesn't wag the dog. Enjoy. Clips, clip. And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the bell, everything will be well. $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell.